Oh yeah, thanks you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on here.
I think it's pretty cool what you guys are doing.
Very good questions and what a lot of research.
This is cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you guys asking me to be a part of this.
That was too cool, bro. And I was between shifts. I'm between shifts right now. I think I'm gonna be between shifts the rest of my life.
Welcome back to the Between Shifts podcast. Today we are sitting down with the legendary big wave surfer who pioneered Mavericks, community figure, surfboard shaper, and waterman extraordinaire whose story defines courage and passion for the ocean. Please welcome Jeff Clark.
All right. Woo.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good to be here with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Right on. So we're going to start out early life. So I'm sure you've been on podcasts before and talked about surfing, but we're curious of where did you grow up and what was it like?
And 1966, my parents built a house on the beach in Miramar. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven, man. But it was just an extension of my grandfather who built their home in Redwood City in 1926.
Okay.
And my dad was born in that house. And every weekend, there were 7 kids, right? So every weekend they were at Martin's Beach fishing. Fishing, ab diving, hanging out, family picnic. That was every weekend, even through when my parents met at Martin's Beach. And I mean, I was born in 57, as a minute ago.
Yeah.
And, so I know, the beach is like second nature to me. I was 1 year old and they'd put a rope around me because I'd crawl into the water.
Yeah.
I've been rescued more times than most.
Yeah.
But, growing up on the beach and the coast and then, imagine walking across the channel to Año Nuevo Island at minus tide. And I'm a little kid and the men are walking and there's human chain and my feet can't touch.
Yeah.
If they let go of me, I'm heading to Santa Cruz or fish food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, but my brother and I would roam around Año Nuevo Island while the whole crew from Martin's Beach dove out there on the island and we'd walk back. And a lot of times walking back, the tide would start to change and more current. And it was pretty hairy getting back across the channel.
You've always been pretty naturally drawn to the ocean then, ever since you were little.
Yeah, I was in it.
Really cool.
My dad taught scuba when I was, I think, 2 years old.
Okay.
And they'd put an inner tube around the stroller, and metal stroller, right? I'd float around the pool, and I was happy.
Yeah.
2 years old in the water, floating around the pool. He's teaching class.
So despite being from Redwood City, growing up from 57 to 66, you were out in Redwood City. You still spent most of your time probably
on the beach
beach here, Martin's Beach, and
fishing and Año Nuevo, 4 a.m, driving out of it. When I was a little kid. And then 66. I mean, I'm 9 years old, and I'm sitting here in Miramar looking at the water, and just like there was a handful of guys that surfed out in front of Miramar, and that led me to building my first board. There was a guy, Ray Pinocchi, who worked in Hawaii for Jack Shipley and Ryan Dotson and the guys that inevitably formed Lightning Bolt.
Okay.
And his parents lived in El Granada, and my mom was pretty much a looker. So he was always willing to help me fix dink on my board or help me shape a board, right? And so a lot of fun stuff there. So my first board, I skinned a board that's probably worth a lot of money right now to get to the foam to shape my own board. And I made a 5'9" twin fin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was like 1969.
Yeah.
And he helped me glass it. And my dad was a cop, and so he put a resin pin line peace sign on the board, I think just to get under his skin a little bit.
Yeah.
69 was the summer.
Peace, love, and happiness. Love. Yeah.
But
so you said your dad was a cop, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
San Mateo County Sheriff.
Okay. Nice. And then he also was building the house in Miramar.
Yeah, he was a carpenter.
He's a carpenter
also,
well.
my grandfather's a carpenter. I was third generation carpenter, and I've built a lot of Foster City, built a lot of Colony Club, Ocean Colony, and a lot of homes around El Granada and that. And
Yeah, you mentioned abalone diving on the coast. There was a crew that used to do it or something. I just briefly, you kind of mentioned it.
Yeah.
But do you remember what it was like before they started shutting down places on the coast where they just said you can't dive for abalone anymore because it's overfished?
You had to go north of Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Yeah.
But I'd be taking boards to Santa Cruz to get glass, and I'd pull off just south of what is it?
The lighthouse?
No,
Pigeon Point?
no, north of there, right?
Just Davenport.
Just north of Bean Hollow,
Okay.
by Pescadero.
Yeah.
And there's a spot there. I'd pull off, throw my suit on. I'd only be in the water 15 minutes. I have my limit in the ice chest, and then head to Santa Cruz, take care of my biz.
Yeah.
There were abalone. There were a lot of abalone around here.
Got to still be a lot now that
It's been closed for so long. It's just carpeted again.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest danger to abalone right now is what's happened north of Pillar Point through the sanctuary. There's so much sea urchins that they're just overrunning the whole ocean floor.
Yeah.
Well,
The purple urchins eating all the seaweed, which is food for abalone. And so,
Yep.
yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So started shaping boards in the garage in Miramar in '69, and pretty much never looked back. Started building boards in high school for all the guys in class. You know, Cowboy was the only other guy that built board. No, actually, Robert Johnson, he built boards down here on Main Street, south end of town, and I ended up with his power planer. I still have it.
Wow.
It's my favorite tool, man. The thing will take a 1/4-inch cut. It's got a big spiral bit, and man, it's a fun tool to carve with.
they don't make them like they used to.
No.
Do you remember growing up? Well, you were like 9, but do you remember your dad building the house? Do you remember? Did you guys go out and see it as it was being built?
I was on the job.
Oh yeah,
Packing nails, 16-penny nails, putting rubber bands around them while my uncles were
Cleaning
my
up
dad
after cuts.
yeah.
were framing the house.
Yeah, so the house I was living in, my dad built it, and it's the same thing. I remember walking around the job site like a magnet and picking up nails.
Picking up nails or making the bundles that they just put in their pouch and keep framing.
That's awesome.
Well, getting back to your childhood, what kind of kid were you? Were you already an adrenaline seeker, or were you kind of more laid back and just curious?
No, just pretty chill, and it wasn't until I started hanging out with the surfers on the beach, and I remember being, I'm like 10 years old, 11 years old, kind of afraid to go out past the waves, and then there was a whole crew that, it's like, come on, man, come with us. We'll keep an eye on you. And
Was that crew here locally?
Yeah, they'd surfing, like tricks. Ted Porter, he filmed Huge Monday and Pipeline in probably 1970, early 70s.
Wow.
And but we had a couple filmmakers here. We had some really good surfers, like Dick Keating surfed in the '67 Duke from Pacifica.
Yeah, oh, wow.
And the Hoes. Chick Ho, and then Michael and Derek Ho. I mean, there's pictures of those kids as babies on the beach in Pacifica.
Wow.
Right? So Lindemar Pacifica was a pretty big surfing community.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of connections with Hawaii, where Half Moon Bay, nobody stopped here on purpose to go surfing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things.
This might be kind of a dumb question, but I'm not too familiar with the Ho family. But is Mason Ho related to Derek Ho? Is that Derek's?
Yeah, that's one of the sons.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. So when did they move to Hawaii, or were they Hawaiian?
They were already in Hawaii. They just spent time here because of the relationships they had with the Keatings.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
really cool. Because I saw a while back Mason Ho had come to town in like 2016, somewhere in there, and he was surfing at Lindemar and I saw somebody snapped a photo with him on the beach. I was like, what? What's that guy at Lindemar? Out of everywhere he could be.
A lot of history there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But where are we going next?
Next, we're going to ask you a little bit about growing up because you grew up Mormon.
Yeah, LDS. So my ancestry comes from Europe, and they settled in Plymouth. Now, one of my relatives was mayor of Plymouth Rock, right?
Yeah,
And,
trace the lineage back that far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, way back.
Yeah.
1500s.
Yeah,
Wow.
And then they there was some conversion. I've got one of my ancestors knew Joseph Smith personally,
wow.
and in one of the books that my family has written, talks about him and and then before he got killed, and then the migration west to Salt Lake Valley.
Yeah.
So I have family that settled Salt Lake Valley.
Wow.
And the rest is history. My great grandfather was Farmington, Utah, and he was the stake president. He was ran the bank, and he was a banker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Farmington, and then my grandfather came from Farmington out to Redwood City.
Okay.
So, but what was it like for you growing up in a Mormon household? Did you stick with that for your life, or
It's easy.
just kind of
It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to be LDS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't get pulled around by the whatever's new in the world. You kind of have a little more conservative view. You learn to trust a higher power.
Yeah.
Like when I would in the early days paddling out at Mavericks. There's go to the end of the beach, hike around the corner. There's this really beautiful place over there. It's almost like your own peaceful ground before you're stepping off the rocks into one of the most violent waves on the planet.
Yeah.
It's a good time to get on your knees and say, "Please watch over me."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was Brian Deegan. Do you know who Brian Deegan is? He's a moto guy. But I remember seeing something of him talking about it, and him talking about how people that are involved in action sports or risking their lives kind of on regularly, it's almost easier to believe in a higher power because you can't really explain how you're kind of doing it at the same time. So it's nice. It's peace of mind for, like you're saying, like you go out to Mavericks and you're like, I know that God has me right now, or he's protecting me.
Absolutely. And when you, you've got your experience, knowledge, training, instinct, all of that, and then you add another layer of influence that kind of keep you on the right track, and where you'll become aware of hidden dangers that do exist in everything we do, and it's extreme sports, and to be able to be aware of those things is probably why I'm sitting here right now.
And there's a big sense of community in the Mormon in the Mormon community. Did you guys have that growing up? Was it like a Mormon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We used to meet in the Oddfellows Hall down here on Main Street.
Yep.
And the Hells Angels would roll through town, and they'd all hang out at original Johnny's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean, and then we finally, worked hard enough, saved enough to build a chapel out in Moss Beach.
Yeah.
Awesome.
California Avenue.
What do you think of the new Johnnies? The rebuilt Johnnies?
I've been in there once.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I used to go in there on the weekends to grab a meal, and the traffic these days is off the rails, and I have my business in Princeton, and, if you want to come to town, you got to do it early.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But
Then what was your first job growing up?
my first job growing up was, my gosh, I was getting the truck. We're going to Oakland. And here's a floor scraper. I want you to scrape those asbestos tiles off the floor.
Oh, it's gnarly.
And I got $1 a day if I was happy about going. If I was mad about going, I could work for free that day.
So that would have been a job with your father then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny too, because I was just kind of redoing a little bit of a room at my grandmother's house, and I went in and it's still, like the popcorn ceilings.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I went in and I was like, okay, I watched a video how to scrape, and I'm like, I have to wear like a full on mask for this. It's
Hazmat.
so gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure it's wet.
Yeah, I was gonna say I sprayed it with a spray bottle, and it was so satisfying. It just falls down. You're like,
Yeah.
just right down.
Right into your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Goggles.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
everything. Well, we know your dad was a carpenter. He was a cop. He said as well. But what did your mom do? And I guess we already know how they met too.
Well,
we're
actually,
kind of
my
curious.
mom, she raised kids.
Okay.
For years.
Yeah.
And then she picked up a little job once we got into high school. She picked up a job up, right before Frenchman's Creek.
Okay.
There's the canyon that goes back there.
Yep.
So there was an Intel instrument building factory back there.
Whoa.
Oh.
Like tedious wearing microscopes on your eyes to build electronic parts that went into the Apollo rockets.
Whoa. I've never heard of this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's back where the weed farm is now, I guess, right?
Way back there, there's
Yeah.
a brick.
Yeah.
There's a brick building back there.
Yeah, I think that is
All the
where
way
weed is now.
Yeah.
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 So that was your mom's little side gig
That's
after
what-
she was
that
done
was her
raising
side
kids.
gig, yeah.
So how many siblings did you have?
Okay, so I was the oldest. My brother Lyle's 18 months. Then Lisa, my sister, lives up in the foothills, and my brother lives up in the foothills. My
So-
youngest
Yeah.
brother, Cal.
Nice.
She had her hands full.
She did.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
And then they met at Martin's Beach, your parents, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And they eloped, and my grandfather was pissed. And they were going to go on newlywed game.
Yeah. Oh, no kidding.
Not the brightest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Well, your first job was scraping floor tiles for $1 a day.
And then by 14, I was framing houses.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think learning that hard work shaped the kind of surfer and person that you've become today?
You kind of learn that you can do anything.
Mhm.
If you're working with your hands and, being in the ocean, I remember 13 years old getting sucked off the beach in Miramar, and they're looking at the beach and there's no one on the beach.
Yeah.
We're talking 1970.
Yeah.
Where were all you guys out there in 1970? Okay.
And my dad's nuts.
So anyway,
Maybe not.
1970, I'm getting pulled off the beach, and I'm like, all I could remember is, the things you want to do is figure out where you're going. And I was pretty good at registering the shore and the movement that was happening to me. And I got started getting pulled south, and so I just went with it and started to look inside to where waves were breaking.
Mhm.
And once I kind of got free of the rip that was taking me out, I got into the whitewater and I was able to get back to the beach. But it's pretty unnerving when this happens to you for the first time and there is no help except you and what you respond and how you respond. And
Yeah.
the life you save may be your own. Well,
Yeah.
that happened early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine being out there.
But
Or I got sucked out along the jetty rocks one time, and I was like, if I could just get to the rocks. I was just on a little boogie board. I was young. And then I just, crawled under the jetty and just walked my way back up.
Yeah. So going back, but coming from a family of carpenters, you obviously had a kind of a life path at that point. But did you ever, when the time came, I don't know when you decided you were going to be done with carpentry, but when the time came to move on to a different field, did you have any
okay, so I was building. I was in the Carpenters Union in the when did I join the Carpenters Union? Like right after high school, joined the Carpenters Union. But everywhere I lived, I built a shaping room in the house or in the backyard.
Yeah.
And so I'd get off work and then I'd shape surfboards.
Yeah.
And so, that's how it all starts. You take, I think by the time I was 16, 17 years old, I had over 40 boards, 40 different kind of boards.
Wow.
And so it was like my lab to figure out why they worked the way they did.
Yeah.
And,
Trial and error.
and then I'd modify them. I won a contest in 79 at Steamer Lane on a single fin that I'd glassed over the box and put twin fins on it. And they're looking at me like,
Who's this teenager?
you rode that?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it
That's
works pretty good. You should try it.
Yeah.
But, that funny stuff, man. I just rolled up and I go, well, when are they going to announce the results of the contest? Well, there were only 6 guys we just ran it as a final. So I go, okay, I got to split. I'm going to go to church. I drove back home, went to church, and that next week I got a certificate in the mail. I'm opening it up and I go, oh, rad, first place. 6 to 8 foot Steamer Lane.
Nice.
I know.
And
Yeah.
so when did you stop paying your dues? When did you kind of like leave carpentry and know that shaping and
It wasn't
doing all that?
until like 1990.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I always, the 80s, I got married in 1980 and had Kevin and Katrina, which they're now 44 and 42. And Kevin's a really good surfer, really good golfer. My daughter's just a tech wizard. She's a wizard in AI.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Radical. And her boys are 13 and 15, and they're both over 6'2". They're radical soccer players.
Nice.
So, and and then Kyla, which is more probably 32, 33-ish.
Yeah, she was in my class in high school.
Yeah, she got married last year, a year, maybe it's creeping on 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, she lives up in Portland.
Yeah.
But the kids, Kevin, he's actually was going to be a physical therapist, and now he's a critical care nurse in the cardiac ICU at Stanford,
Wow.
which is gnarly.
Talk
I guess
about a
I
stressful
trained
job.
I trained him well to be chill under pressure.
Yeah. There you go.
yeah.
No kidding. Yeah, talk about a stressful job.
Yeah, keeping people alive, running the finite cocktails of post-heart surgery.
Yep.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Well, now we're gonna get kind of into the meat of things.
All right, I like meat.
You were 17 years old when you first paddled out at Mavericks, and what was going through your mind that first time? And I mean, what kept you coming back for so long?
So Brian and I are sitting up on the point, north of the point, and the swell's too big for the spots over there. And we see it's plate glass, just mirror glass, like the kind you want to go water skiing in.
Yeah.
And there's these big, beautiful A-frames breaking out there. And I go, Brian, man, we watched it before. Let's roll over there, man. Let's go out. And he's like, I'm not going out there. I go, well, at least come look at it, And I was just, leave me alone. I go, come with me. I need somebody to keep an eye on me. And I finally talked him into coming around the corner, and we're at the end of the beach, and he's like, I'm not going out there. I'll tell the Coast Guard where I last saw you. It's, same line from Riding Giants,
Yeah.
It's just, so I paddled through the north side of the reef because for me, the quickest way out is to deep water. And so I didn't want to paddle all the way across the lagoon and then go around Mushroom Rock and, you get tagged by sets over there, and it's a pain. And if I just do the timing thing, jump off, get through the reef in deep water, and now it's just a long paddle out.
Yeah.
And, but what got me in the water was I've been watching this for 3 years. I am so done watching it. You can't keep me on the beach anymore. I'm done watching. I want to ride it.
Yeah.
I know how to ride it. I know how to line myself up out there and get in the, and you just don't paddle right into where you think it's going to be. You are off the side. You watch a set come through. You get closer, another set, and you start to calibrate lineups. So you coordinate your position a half mile offshore. Like I can put myself back in the size of this room, which is about 7 feet across in the circle every time.
Yeah.
I can put myself back in that place. So when those sets, and every swell's got its own behavioral patterns, and so you have to take that into consideration. But getting in the lineup and closer and closer and closer and closer to where you're when you're in the spot and you watch 10 sets go through, and the next you're on the wave and you're going because everything you've done your homework, you're in the right place. You watch the wave stand up. You're in the one sliver of wave that breaks first. Out of every wave, there's a slice that breaks first, and being in that spot gave me the ramp in, and man. Yeah. This big shadow behind me just going, I'm like, oh, no, don't hit me. Hit me. And blew up right behind me, and I made it. And I was able to get to the channel and kick out. And it was like, oh, man, I want another one of those.
Everything was calculated to that moment.
Paddled back out and did it again. And I got 5 waves that day. One I almost got tagged in, because it swang way north, and I was trying to kick out, and it felt like the thing kept growing and growing and growing. And finally I made it to the lip, just high enough over the lip as it threw underneath me. And I was like, okay, maybe we should just call this good.
Yeah. So before that paddle out, had you gone out on a boat or anything to kind of check it out and see if there's any rocks or anything below in the bowl?
No, not at all. I was really good at reading. I still, reading water, why it moves the way it moves, whether it's a 2-foot wave and we've cut school at Cunha and we're hanging out on the reefs all day long. High tide, low tide, whatever swell, you study, why waves break the way they do. And then at low tide, you can see the dry reef that those waves are breaking over.
Yeah.
And, for me, I worked in the lab. Every day I was not in school, I was in school and learning about the ocean and how it moves. And, I can spend, an hour at a reef break, and then I can draw you a map of the bottom.
That's crazy.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's a wavelength is height and then width, and the height is basically a sounding. It's like a regular wavelength, and it sounds off the bottom. At shallow spots, it breaks. Deep spots, it just flows.
Yeah. Well, I was curious too, because I had grown up hearing my dad talk about people surfing mushroom rock a little bit. And I was just curious if you think that there's any possibility that somebody who just nobody knows of could have paddled out and somehow surfed Mavericks before anybody else. I don't know.
Well, Dick Keating surfed in 1967 out there.
Oh, dang.
At Mushroom Rock.
Yeah.
Not outside.
Not outside.
And then there was an article that this guy, what's his name? I don't know. Guy from Pescadero, and who I surfed with religiously. And by the time I was 15, I surfed bigger waves than most of these guys. It was pretty funny. And they wrote this article, Mavericks BC, before Clark. Right? And they were going to get it published in Surfer's Journal.
Oh, gosh.
And Steve Pesman is a friend of mine. And I heard about this because George Moore, who was a friend of mine, was always hanging out at my shop over in the warehouses. And he comes up, he goes, Jeff, man, there's this article coming out, and, we never surfed where you surf. And I just, I kind of got wind of it, that something was happening. Yeah. So I'm going to give Steve Pesman, the editor of Surfer's Journal, your number, Dick Keating's number, Barry Horwitz's number.
Okay.
because Barry is the same age as all those guys, and he surfed with them, and he surfed out there with them and by Mushroom Rock. Right? So,
but they never made it outside.
And so I gave this. No, I gave Steve Pesman like 8 names, and he called them all up, and he calls me back, and he goes, "Yeah, I talked to everybody at length, and they're not surfing where you surfed."
Yeah,
he talked to Dick Keating and Pacifica, and read some of the article to Dick, and just go, and Dick was the best big wave guy in Northern California, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes, what they're describing that they were doing on the boards that they had at that time was not possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
it's like process of elimination.
All right.
Yeah.
And what was that first board like that you took out to Mavericks?
The first board was a single fin. It had a glass with wood veneer on each side of the fin. It was a glass on. It was a 7.3 single fin. It was 3 1/4 inches thick. Like, that's how they made the single fins, and they made the edges hard, right? And so when I was 17 years old, I was like any 17-year-old that friggin' rides 100 miles a week, right? Or 200 a week, right?
Yeah.
Just surfing every single day and paddling like no tomorrow. So when it came to, there was just a couple of us surfing Montera, and that's got a rip, and then Rockaway's got the crazy rip. I love surfing in rips because it was like you're training on a treadmill with your motor, your arms, right? And so when I got into big waves, and Mavericks wasn't the first big wave I surfed, but we surfed giant Ocean Beach with a friend of mine, Charlie Cole, who was a professional at age 14 motorcycle racer out of Half Moon Bay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
D&D Cycles.
Yeah.
And Bobby Sanders is a pro rider as well. And, so that 7.3, 20 inches wide, and I could basically catch any kind of a wave. And I was trying. I was surfing giant waves between here and Santa Cruz on the reefs down there, and Ocean Beach, huge waves. Scott Creek, huge waves. Giant waves at Steamer Lane, like Third Reef, Steamer Lane. Those big waves.
This is on the board that you initially took out to Mavericks?
Yes.
So that must have given you so much more confidence going out there.
I had confidence that I could catch anything with it. I knew this board, so when I was in the right place, it wasn't how's this going to work? I knew how it was going to work. I just had to get on the face and get to my feet, and the rest was history.
Yeah, so how did you link up with the Santa Cruz boys that started surfing a while after your initial go?
So the Loma Prieta earthquake happened, right? And that's 1989. And so I was still contracting at that time, and I was doing earthquake retrofit, on the soft story, big buildings, apartment buildings and stuff like that have all the underground parking. Yeah. And we'd be going through them and doing shear wall and then bolting the foundations back to the foundation. There was a big one we were working on during this swell that hit Hawaii that Richard Schmidt took 3rd place in the Eddie Aikau. And that next morning, I'm driving up the coast, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look how big it is. And I get to Ocean Beach at Sloat, and there's Doc, Big Bird, Richard's brother, Dave Schmidt, Tom Powers, sitting there looking at it. And it's like 30-foot faces, and it's just going off out there. And Doc's trying to talk them into going out. And I go, Doc, where are you going to go? These are closeouts.
Yeah.
And I said, Dave, Tom, I've surfed big waves down there, down the coast with you guys, giant waves at Steamer Lane. I go, I can take you to a place that'll take all this power and make a big, perfect peak out of it. And they're like, no way, Doc stayed up there. They followed me down to the point. We walk up to the north side of the point, and Dave's like looking off towards Moss Beach. Is that it? Is that it? Is that it? Is that it? I was just waiting for a set to break.
Yeah.
And this set comes up, and you're looking into this giant left barrel, and he's going, oh my, we're going out there, huh? And he goes, it's like Waimea. When you look at Waimea from the road, from the back of it, and you can see the big wall out in front. And we went down the parking lot, put our suits on and walked out. We got to the beach, and I said, I'm going to paddle out the north side. And they're like, you have fun with that. We're going to paddle around the south side. They're used to paddling with no rocks.
Yeah.
Because you get caught on the north side, you end up doing the rock dance a little bit.
Yeah.
And
you, during all this time when you're paddling out there all alone, you never had any fears of sharks or anything like that?
Not really. I figured, it's the energy you give off.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And, by this time, they've seen me.
Yeah.
They know who I am.
Yeah, they've swam underneath you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd been out there and had big, giant whales swim under me before in the springtime when I had this board I really wanted to ride, and there was a low tide and the last inconsistent swell of the year, and I'd paddle all the way out there, and I'd be sitting there for half an hour, and then here comes a wave, and I'd be in the right spot, and I could get it.
Yeah.
And but I had this. I'm sitting there, just hands up on top of the board, everything up on top, in the right place, and just north of me, and man, just talk about startled. And I look over, and then I look down, and the tail's still under me.
Oh my
and I'm
gosh!
Like, don't flick your tail, please.
So were you out there the day that Tim West got hit by a shark?
No, actually, I asked those guys, "Why are you going out? It's not that big." And and that's the time of year that And another guy, Peck Hewer, he got hit same exact place.
Wow.
Years before. And so kind of in the springtime, I've kind of lay low, I paddled out there with Doc once, and it's just him and I out, and we're out at the peak, and we're riding smaller boards because I think I was on an 8.4 or an 8.6, which is small for Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
But with the tide being low and it's standing up, and it wasn't, probably 20-foot faces max because the tide was so low.
Yeah.
And I get this wave, and I ride it, make it past the first, second bowl, and then I'm start paddling back out, and I hear Doc go, "Shark!" and he's the fin going through the water sign.
Yeah.
And so I paddled back in front of where the waves are going to roll through, and I just sit there.
Yeah.
And he's paddling down the channel, and he looks over and throws his hands up, and it's like, I just wave, I'm good. He keeps paddling.
Yeah.
I get fully run over.
Yeah.
Pushed in another 100 yards.
Yeah.
Get back up on my board. Just sit there. Here he comes paddling again. He goes, "What?" I wave again. It's like, then I end up getting blown up into the rocks, and the tide's so low you can, not get slammed against rocks, but work your way up in there. And he's paddling around Mushroom Rock in deep water, and I go, man, I don't want to be him.
Yeah.
But something like that. And when I was sitting there on the board, there was boils just flying across in front of me, and this big fish come flying out of the water, but I never saw what was chasing it. And I did not move.
Yeah. Well, looking at the wave and what it is today, how much those early sessions mean to you, having nobody else out there but yourself, or maybe just you and a couple friends?
Oh man, those are the dream days. Christmas morning, 1991. There's like four of us. Matt Ambrose. I just remember Matt being in the lineup, and just an amazing glassy morning.
Yeah.
And And big waves too. There's a shot in my shop
Yeah.
of Christmas morning, 1991, and it's just not a drop of water out of place. I'm on a 10-6 tri-fin, glass-on fins. And in the early days, we really didn't have fin systems yet. So we were glassing everything on, and you'd have to foil everything really nice for high speed. And but yeah, those days, the early days were fun. I mean, I ended up getting a Zodiac in 1990, and I'd go out when I couldn't get anybody to go, and I'd anchor that thing and and jump off the boat and go surf.
Would you anchor it out at the buoy and paddle in, or a little too far?
No, I just anchored it right outside Mushroom Rock. If I had to swim to it, I wanted it to be inside, not outside.
Fair. Yeah.
And I did that a couple times,
That's
and
cool.
went and looked for my board.
Yeah. I remember hearing stories of Jim Jogas going out, and I think it was Brian Jenkins was working at the old the station up there. He was bringing in some sort of material, but he remembers seeing a guy just like, I think he anchored a jet ski or something, and he was all alone. And Brian's like, this guy's fucking crazy. And he saw the red board, the red gun, and he was like, oh, it's Jim Joe. Jim was just out there surfing.
Wow.
It's
Going
nuts.
at it alone.
Yeah, I mean, it bites you at times where you don't need anybody to go surfing with it. You've learned it enough that it's like, if it's breaking, why am I not on that wave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was that surf culture like? Was everyone just going bigger and bigger at the time, or was it still like a kind of a laid back kind of feeling of the actual culture of surf in town at the time?
When it showed up, we rode what was there.
Yeah.
It just tried to get it. I mean, there was a day that it was so big we couldn't get out.
Stuck in it.
And Doc had come back to the parking lot, and he just goes, do you know any other way to get out? And Grant and I were looking at it from the north side of the point, and I kept, I study the water. That's just the nature of me. Yeah. And I go, I think we can get out over here. And so we did. We were able to get out. And this is like a mile and a half north of maybe a mile north of Mavericks. We paddled all the way down there, and it was like 40 plus feet. It was giant.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's so gnarly when you're paddling into a reef from the outside. So I basically paddled all the way inside the peak and then paddled back out to recalibrate where I was in the water.
Oh my gosh.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much area out there, you get lost too, right?
So what ended up just being four of us in the water: John Raymond, Doc, Grant, and I. Oh. And nobody else.
Is this that Christmas morning?
No, this is another
different day.
This is just a day in the water.
Just another day in the early days.
Yeah,
where nobody, a lot of times, So there was a Gary Maderos from Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
he shows up at my house one day, and I'm living over here on Spruce Street, and he shows up and he goes, "You ready to go?" I go, "Yeah, I'm ready." Who else is going? I go, "I don't know. Did you call anybody?" "No, I didn't call anybody." "Well, I didn't have anybody to call." And drove up to the point. I helped him lug his camera gear out and up the point, and I go, "All right, see you in a while."
Yeah.
And paddled out, and
that's crazy.
Surf it by myself.
Yeah.
And I think Eric's got some footage from that day. But not many people were actually showing up to go surfing.
Yeah.
And then through this time that you spent surfing Mavericks, I mean, from the beginning, I mean, I guess there was no like purposefully like gatekeeping it, but eventually you did show your friends.
No, I was trying to get somebody to surf it with me from the word go. As far as gatekeeping, Mavericks was the gatekeeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, and Mavericks is such a bigger wave than the small town localism garbage, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, please,
Yeah.
and that's how I thought about it. It's like, you know what? You're excited enough to spin and go on a 30-foot plus face that's going to go inside out. You think you got what it takes? Freaking good on you, man. Freaking stoked. I hope you get in early and you make it, because it's the ride of your freaking life, so that's how I thought about it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I guess who is the first person that you watched ride it? If you didn't go out, that you were the most stoked on seeing?
Shoot, like Brent Heckerman, Jim Kibblewhite, Sean and Matt,
The Pacifica boys.
and Rod Walsha.
Yep.
That was kind of the crew from up here that joined me in going out there.
Yeah.
And then you had Richard Schmidt, Dave Schmidt, Tom Powers, Broglio, gosh, who am I missing? Because that was like the first gen that came up from Santa Cruz. And then Collier. And there were days where it was just Vince, Big Bird, and myself. Just three of us out.
That's crazy.
How nuts is that?
Yeah.
And, it's just, it's such a special place. And, as far as seeing the progression of big wave surfing in California and Northern California, and when it first came out in the magazines, I remember Ken Bradshaw coming up to me with the magazine. How big is this? How big is this? How big is this? And I'm like, it's pretty big, Ken.
And what year was that it got published?
Early 90s.
Okay.
And it wasn't, he came over, I believe, in 93.
Okay.
92, 93. And it's funny, man. There's some pictures of him. I go, you look cold, Ken. You want my coat? And he's in my gold 49ers jacket. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah. That's classic. So at what point did the Hawaiian boys start to come over? And
that was it.
That was it, Ken?
That was it.
Yeah.
And then when Brock and Mark Fu and Bradshaw came out and we lost Mark Fu. I was waiting on the beach for him and the red eye and getting over here. And then, there's pictures of them walking down the beach. And then, finally he shows up, Mark and Ken show up in the lineup. And it was like, I paddle up to Mark, not right away, just, watch him get in the lineup, assimilate, and he's getting waves. He's like he got a bunch of waves.
Yeah.
And I paddle up. And I was actually going left because there was a lot of pressure going right, between the Santa Cruz guys proving that they got it, and then the Hawaiian guys, and everybody. There's a lot of pressure on the peak, so I was surfing the left, before I was going to go in. I paddle up to Mark. I go, Mark, what do you think? He goes, I never imagined the wave was this good.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, that's, to get the blessing of the guys that were pretty much the setting the bar in Hawaii and go, wow, this wave is really awesome. I was just so stoked. And I picked off a left and rode it all the way through and came in on the north side of the reef. And,
oh, wow.
And, when it wasn't too out of control, you could do that and get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then went up, changed on the beach, and guy says from the top of the cliff, Jeff, there's like a bunch of guys going through the rocks. And I finished putting my shoes on, ran to the top of the cliff, and he handed me the binoculars, and I watched everybody getting washed through the water, and I could see heads. And Parsons and Brock Little got pushed in on the north side of the rock, and they had to work their way through to the other side. And man, that's gnarly on that side. And, it seemed like everybody was in, and I went out to the end of the point and got my two little kids and Kevin and Katrina, and we came back over and we came down the point. And I remember Greg Head at the bottom of the point, have you seen Mark Fu? And I'm like, have I seen Mark Fu? I didn't realize the significance in that statement until later. But I had made him aboard. He was on the wave that Mark Fu fell on. Mark Fu's last wave.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you see this yellow and green board go up and over the falls. So he saw Mark Fu go down and never come up.
Wow.
That's
Pretty
heavy.
gnarly.
That's heavy.
It's really
And
heavy.
I didn't really realize that until because I said, he said, have you seen Mark Fu? And I said, no, I think he broke. I heard his board broke and maybe he went back out to the boat. So I went over and shipped to shore. I'm sitting over there where my surf shop is right now. Right. And so talk about history and finding its way back into your life. Where my shop is right now was Ship to Shore restaurant. And I'm going to order some food and I just can't sit there. And I go, hey, I'm going to go over to the harbor master, and Bob Barber and Gary Verhagen were on a boat out there. And I go, hey, I'll be right back. Just order me some shrimp and barbecued shrimp. They made really good barbecue shrimp. Not that I remember. And just as I got to Bob and Gary and they go, yeah, Bob's going, yeah, I got some pretty good stuff. And right then, Mayday over all the loudspeakers in the harbor. And Gary says, let's go. And we went down onto his boat and we followed the harbor patrol boat out into the harbor. And just as we get out from the inner harbor out there, the deeper blue is wide open coming across the harbor. And then they tie up to the harbor patrol boat and they start working on somebody on the boat, and it ends up being Mark Fu. And the deeper blue on its way in saw a piece of, so from the time I saw those people go and wash through the reef, probably an hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
Go get my kids, come back all the way, sit down in the restaurant, and to those guys coming in, they're coming into the harbor and they see the tail end of Fu's board still attached to something. They realize he's still attached to it. They dive in, they pull him out, and
Yeah.
just
Super
so
heavy.
Yeah.
pretty heavy.
And would you say that moment was did that moment make you question, like, is this wave worth it?
So that was just before Christmas. And then I believe Saturday or Sunday was Christmas. And then there was a new swell on Monday, and I drove out to the point like normal and took my time thinking somebody else is going to show up, pack my backpack and grab my board, walk out the trail. And I start putting my suit on, taking my time thinking somebody else is going to show up. And I walk out to the end of the point, go up and around, get on my knees, say a prayer. And right as I'm getting ready to jump off the jump rock, I hear Tommy Snyder and Jimmy Dale screaming from the top of the cliff. Woo! It was like rad.
Yeah.
And so I jump in the water, I paddle all the way out, and and I'm thinking a lot about what transpired just a couple days before losing Fu, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna just paddle up over some sets and just spend a minute, give a moment of silence for my friend, and did that for a bit, and then it's like, all right, Mark, let's catch some waves.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
I got a couple waves, and off in the distance, all of a sudden, everything changed. I could see the wind line coming and white caps, and it was done, right? And I was able to pick a wave off, and it was like, as I rode in past Mushroom Rock and into the lagoon, it was like, it's done.
That's crazy.
Want to get your business in front of a loyal local audience? Between Shifts brings coastside stories to life with real conversations, local legends, and plenty of laughs. Sponsorships include custom ad reads, shout-outs in episodes, and visibility across all our socials, all designed to connect your brand with engaged listeners who support local. Now, please email betweenshiftspod@gmail.com for any inquiries. Thank you.
Yeah, so water safety, after Fu died, it was like, okay, I got to look into what they're doing in Hawaii, jet ski, water rescue, and training. And so I contacted K38 in Southern California, and I said, she goes, come down. We're doing Coronado Island World Championships. So went down there, started to just brush up against jet skis and got to ride them and trying to start to figure them out. And
so this is before jet skis were really popular out at Mavericks.
Oh yeah, they were.
What year did you say this was?
94, right? Because Fu passed away in December of 94.
Yeah, like 95, 96.
Yeah.
And then 97, I was invited to the Eddie Aikau surf contest. 98, we started putting one on, was our first contest here.
Okay, hang on. Before you skip over that, how was the Eddie competing in that?
They didn't hold it.
They didn't hold it.
I was invited on the main list.
Oh.
And I was out with Alex Diaz and Clyde Aikau and Richard Schmidt, and we're out at Waimea, and it's like, Clyde's like, anybody seen George? Where's George? We lost Clyde this year. And it's like, and I think Eric Diaz is gone as well, but where's George? He's on the other side of the island at Makaha setting up Buffalo's contest. So there were 20-foot sets at Waimea. I got to surf it with some of the boys, and got to surf it with Eric Dorner, and pretty cool. But no contest.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the year I was on the main list, and then the next year relegated to the alternate list, and but at that time I was like one of 3 Californians in the list of the Eddie, which was pretty much,
that's a feat on its own.
Yeah.
It was breaking new ground.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you say we lost, did you say we lost George this year?
No, Clyde Aikau.
Clyde Aikau, but you mentioned we lost George, I think.
I think Eric Diaz.
Oh, okay.
Quite a few years ago.
You're talking about George Lopez, right? Or not George Lopez.
No.
George, the king of Father Pipeline.
Well, you were saying George. Everyone was saying
George Downing.
No.
What he was saying is we lost George. George was setting up a different contest in 98.
Okay.
Saying, where's George? Where's George?
Where's George? And George Downing was over at Makaha setting up Buffalo's contest.
Okay. Wait,
Ian, we didn't lose him.
Can you look up the Father of Pipeline? I can't think of this.
Jerry Lopez?
Jerry Lopez, not George. What did I say? George Lopez?
Father of Pipeline was Butch Van Aertstalen.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know that name, to be honest with you.
I actually have a surfboard that I have the Butch Van Aertstalen model in my shop. It's a 1963 team board. It's a Duca Hanamoku Butch Van Aertstalen model.
Wow.
I mean, it's a beautiful board. It's what they rode as a team board in 1963.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. What are those boards like from 1963? How heavy are those things?
They're too heavy. Well, you know what, though? The weight and the way they were shaped, they're actually, you can ride them.
Yeah.
And they need the weight to actually give them the momentum to go through the water, because there's so much bottom curve on them, and they're round, and it's like they're not a planing hull.
Yeah.
Right. They're a momentum thing.
So I had a question also about your board shaping process. When you're talking about how you're just kind of trial and erroring with these boards that you take out in the early days. Now you kind of have it obviously a lot more wired, but did you have a notebook? Would you come in from your session and kind of write down things you could initially think of that you could better in the shaping room?
No, it was, well, yes, actually.
In your head?
I would take, in my head, I'd have the board that I've just been riding, and it was like complete input of what I was just experiencing.
Yeah.
And when I started to shape the new board, or my next board, I would have the board I've been riding right there. And I would use rocker jigs, like full length rocker jigs. So the bottom curve is so important. And then you put your V's and your, flat spots, your concaves, whatever you're going to put into that board, you have to make an accounting of it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I had a pretty unique way with that planer that I have that takes huge cuts of putting an accelerated rocker. You know how a French curve accelerates? I was able to actually put all the contours into the bottom of the board, stepping things and doing this, and then just make a full pass and blend the whole bottom.
Oh, wow.
So my bottoms were pretty unique.
Top notch.
And I've had, to this day, people go, how do you get that accelerated rocker into that board with the V in that way?
Wow.
And
that's pretty cool.
I have a bunch of those hand shapes that are just magic carpets.
Yeah. Oh, you would appreciate this at Cal Poly. I graduated from Cal Poly, but they had for $80 you could join this board shaping club, and you pay $80 and you can go and shape your own board, and somebody's there to like walk you through it. I was an idiot. I never did it. But that's something that I really regret. But it was cool. It's like, damn, that's a really cool workshop, especially down in San Luis Obispo.
So going back to Coronado Island, so was that like a
jet ski racing? That was their world, the worlds, jet ski racing world. You had the freestyles, guys doing no hand backflips and Mobiuses, and all.
But that was your first exposure to jet skis in
jet
general.
ski world. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, I think that was it. Other than seeing Herbie Fletcher show up at, so in '83, I did I started windsurfing because we had a really crummy summer, man. And my friend goes, hey, you should come to Waddell Creek and see what they're doing. They're holding the World Cup of windsurfing. Waddell Creek for the Wave Series, and then San Francisco Bay for the course racing. Wow. I spent the next 2 weeks at Waddell Creek, ended up getting fired from my job. We ended up buying sails and equipment from Ken Winter, who was number 2 in the world. Robbie Nash was there, Maui Meyer, Jürgen Hanscheid, the German contingent. And it was amazing what they were doing in 8-foot waves at Waddell Creek. And that's like, I want to do that. And so I know how to build boards, so I started building windsurf boards and ended up for the next 5 years doing the Surf Sailors tour. I a friend of mine, he goes, I could never figure out how you got so good at doing things. It's like he'd leave in the morning, we'd surf in the morning. He'd leave, go to work or something. He'd come back, and I'm still in the water. That's how you get good at it. But so started doing the Surf Sailors tour and windsurfing and, straps and jumps and all that. And then that kind of faded out for me when, and then, I windsurfed Mavericks. By myself. There's no one around here. I lived on the beach in Miramar, and I'd get off work as a carpenter, and I'd have my rig rigged in the front yard. I'd tighten everything up, carry it down to throw a wetsuit on, carry it down to the beach. I'd sail all the way out to the buoy at Mavericks and then come in and sail around Mushroom Rock. And did anybody know I was out there? No. But that's the early 80s.
How long did that take you think to get out there? Because that's a ways.
It's blowing. It'd take you, 45 minutes, an hour.
Yeah. You got to be gassed by the time you get there.
Dude, I was a different human being.
I would have been gassed trying to get in the water.
It's a hell of a commute to work.
Yeah. That's a long ways.
Yeah, that's 2 miles out, and then rip around, sail through Mushroom Rock, doing just nuking jumps, like flying at waves, and I'm hooked into the harness and just fly up and just land,
So
40-foot jumps.
Yeah.
So were you ever shaping windsurfing boards for
Absolutely.
other people?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did a lot of slalom racing boards.
Yeah.
B&D Sports in Redwood City, and then Sea Level Sports in Burlingame. They had a big store over there.
And how long did that last?
I don't know. Windsurfing kind of took it tailed off, in the 90s.
Yeah.
My son, he actually came and got, when he was in high school, came and got all my stuff. And him and some guys were windsurfing down at Shoreline Lake down there.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's been windsurfing ever since. And then about 3 months ago, I go, "You're done windsurfing. Show up. I'm going to tow you behind the boat on a foil. I got the perfect rig." And so in one day, I got him up on this board. And I said, "You tow me first. I want to see what I'm making you ride." And so I got used. I'm like, "Okay, this is where you put your feet, da da da," and then being able to drive and seeing and knowing where he's at, so he doesn't fly out of the water, slow down, and in one day I got him to where he could get up and just stay behind the boat flying around.
That's awesome.
Cool. Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm teaching foil lessons if anybody wants.
There you go.
Wants to learn how to fly a foil.
Yeah.
From The Godfather.
Yeah.
So I've been foiling for 9 years now.
Yeah.
And everything from pretty big waves at Steamer Lane all the way out around the corner from the statue all the way to the beach at the pier in the wintertime when Mavericks is blown and, you can't really access it or, other than towing. Mm-hmm. We'll go to Santa Cruz and foil.
Yeah. I was also curious, did you ever surf or try to surf Blackhand Reef?
Oh, I paddled out there by myself.
How was that one?
It's an awesome reef, man.
Okay.
It's gnarly. It's like it goes inside out. You can't go too far up there. We went out there one day and Flea and Barney and who else? I think Broglio or Wormhout. They followed us down there and they didn't adhere to the lineups. Man, you can't go too deep. You're going to end up on an inside out chopu. Mm-hmm. I've one of my worst 2-wave hold downs was over there. And
at Blackhand Reef.
Yeah. And Chuck goes, he finally sees me, and I got a life jacket on. I'm pretty buoyant. And he comes up, he goes, "Where you been?" Like in 48 hours. "Where you been?" "I've been busy, all right." But yeah, it's pretty gnarly over there. Some big barrels. Jerry Lopez's brother, Victor Lopez, he would come over and he did water patrol for the first contest with me, and pretty awesome. I tow him into this wave and he goes, "Shoots, brah. You trying to kill me?" He said he was in the barrel and going over stairs buckling inside the barrel. And but he made it, and I was like so glad he made it, man.
So when you guys put on that first contest, I mean, skis were really important in that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, how did that first contest go? You
put a contest on, you guys. So we had Mel Pu'u and Dennis Gouveia and a lot of the old school water patrol from Hawaii, because Quicksilver was the sponsor for those events. And, liability, you invite somebody to a really dangerous spot, you better have them covered.
Yeah.
And so we did. And, fortunately, knock on wood, that, the only thing that got hurt was, nervous systems.
Did you ever get like that pit in your stomach watching someone hit that wave, knowing firsthand what it felt like, watching them hit it for the first time?
Actually, if they fall, yeah.
Yeah.
It's when we didn't have life vests and didn't have all that stuff, you were much more careful about going.
Yeah.
You just didn't throw caution to the wind and jump off the cliff, knowing that you got a blow up doll on you, and then you've got a guy that's going to come rescue you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, come on, you know, make better decisions.
Yeah.
Don't fall off. Don't take off too deep. You know, and that's what the early days were all about. You know, the rite of passage was your ability to make good decisions.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure people thought you were nuts going out there at first, going out alone. And,
you know, if you understand the environment that you're stepping into and you trust your ability, your instinct, your equipment, and your intuition, you know, I pretty much did. You know, I'm pretty confident, but not overconfident. You know, I mean, I'd get into the lineup, and there'd be people out in the early days, and you know, I'd just take my time, and then, man, next thing I know, I'm on a wave. Next one on another one. And when I realized, somebody would go, man, you got like 3 waves in like half an hour. And then that's the time when it's like, okay, let's recalibrate. Step off to the side and just work your way right back into where you were that got you those 3 waves.
Yeah. Yep.
Clear mind and just nothing on the plate, you know, I mean, no distractions.
Yeah. And I mean, you've had your hand in helping the productions of a couple feature films that cover Mavericks. And I mean, from Riding Giants to Chasing Mavericks, I mean, how was it to have a hand in those productions and then see the final product?
Really good. Like Grant Washburn, a lot of his footage is in Riding Giants, right? So I provided the boat.
Okay.
For him to actually get those shots. And then there's the cliff angle. But, you know,
Was Eric on the cliff angle?
Yeah, some of that I think that was some Eric as well. And, but the water stuff was shot out of my Zodiac, most of it. And there were all the stuff that Grant shot. And then for Chasing Mavericks, they literally brought a 21-foot Yamaha wakeboard boat. They put some stainless steel impellers in it, and they dropped it off at the yard and said, get used to driving this. And I said, yes, sir.
My pleasure.
Nice.
So I had that boat on riding waves.
Yeah. And what was it like being out there? I'm thinking of Chasing Mavericks, but what was it like being out there with the cast? What was that like?
It was fun. I'd have film guys just going through the scene sheets in the boat. You know, it's like, throw up his hands and go, I don't know how we're going to get this. And I go, I do. We're not going over there. I go, it'll be all right. You're with the right person. It's going to be just fine. I'm basically the matador in the bull ring to just step aside, keep the frame calm, get the shot, and keep everybody safe.
And I mean, how big was it breaking when you guys were doing the filming for Chasing Mavericks out at the break?
It was big. There were 30 to 40 foot bases, and all the shots where you're right in front of the wave. I'm just sitting there idling away, to get that shot, so that I wanted it to look as real as I know it can.
Yeah.
And so being able to sit in the zone, knowing what my limitations are, how close I can be, and not worry about having to run or bounce the camera all over the place. So that's basically my tribute to my good friend Jay Moriarty, him and I were tow partners, and that was just the most amazing, fun experience.
Yeah, I bet. And was I saw a talk show interview with Gerard Butler where he's talking about how he was forced to get into the water, and he's talking about how he had to take, I think he might be a quote, he said it was 15, 20 foot face that just rolled him over Is that true, Jeff?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. What was funny, he goes, yeah, I really want to do all my own stunts and da, 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 da. And we go, and everybody goes, actually, no, you don't. He goes, yeah, I do. And then that day where he got completely lit up, they had him way too far inside, just getting smoked, didn't know how to get on a jet ski. Grant goes in to pick him up. And, hi, Grant. No, get on the ski. Grant, where are you going?
Yeah.
I was like, and he just got completely lit up. and later he does an interview and he goes, yeah, they were right. I really didn't want to do those.
But he did them, so he did have the balls to go and do it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
he did.
Yeah, that is insanely cool that he actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but it almost cost him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And back onto the subject of you towing Jay Moriarty, who have been some of your most favorite tow partners out there?
I got to say, Jay was my favorite tow partner, man.
Mm-hmm.
We were 20 years apart in age, but we looked at water the same, as an opportunity to play and laugh. And, oh my gosh, just hilarious times, and he shows up one day and he goes, what are you doing? You broke your ribs 3 days ago. And I'm like wrapping my rib cage in trucker's wrap that they wrap pallets with. I got like 9 wraps on there with half a breath, and I'm like, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Little medication, and I go. We didn't train for the last 3 years for me to sit on the beach.
Hell yeah.
And we're doing this.
That's nuts.
And so there's a couple sessions that Powerlines has that he's on a red board. So, I mean, I just showed up and I just drove.
Yeah.
And finally I couldn't take it. I did get one wave.
Yeah.
With broken ribs and all.
Yep. And I didn't come out the barrel.
Memorable though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So a second ago we were talking off camera about how Alex had named Mavericks
After his dog.
after his dog, his German Shepherd.
And so in the 60s, you could drive all the way to the end of the point and park on the beach right there. And so on the northwest winds, there's a little longboard Waikiki wave that's like 100 yards off the beach. And the dog, they'd build a fire, because think about the wetsuits in 1963.
Yeah.
They look like wool sweaters.
It's like what you're playing baseball in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they'd build a fire on the beach and the dog would swim out into the lineup, which is, 100 yards off the beach. And they'd take him back and tie him up and they ended up calling the spot after the dog's name, Maverick.
Yeah.
So that's how Mavericks came about.
That's pretty cool.
Fast forward to my shop on Main Street in 94. I opened a shop right across
Where Moody's dentistry is
next
now,
door.
right? Oh, Tokens. Sorry.
Tokens,
yeah.
So I opened a shop in there, and this white-haired Hawaiian guy comes rolling the shop. He goes, I was kind of curious. Why do you call your shop Mavericks? And I go, well, my Little League coach, Walt Von Hoffy, who had Patio Panthers, the theater right around the corner in the Dupter building, right? There was a theater, and, they had surf night. Walt took us all us kids surfing. He'd take us out to the point, and we'd surf this little wave. And he goes, this wave is called Mavericks. And it's this little, knee-high wave that breaks 100 yards off the beach. So older I get, I start surfing all the spots around the point. And so it ended up, in high school, we called Mavericks Super Peak.
Okay.
And so we end up, I end up going out there. And as time went on, it just, that's 75, 80. And, there's nobody really surfing out there. There's nobody surfing out there at all on purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't until kind of the late 80s, and it just I started just calling it Mavericks because I was windsurfing out there. I was surfing out there, and
it's a lot cooler than calling it Super Peak.
It's a lot cooler than something like that.
Yeah.
And so when Alex came in, he goes, I had the dog that we would surf on the inside, and he told me this story about that. And then he painted a picture, which I have, of the whole rocks, the wave. He found a picture of me on a wave and then painted that in there. And then above it, the white German Shepherd,
That's cool.
Maverick, yeah.
the Maverick.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, do you still have that?
I do.
That's awesome.
I do. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's super cool.
So that's, when people think, oh, yeah, dog couldn't swim out to Mavericks right now. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Mavericks in 1963 isn't where it is today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cool part, the way we like to format the podcast, is a linear show. So we got your backstory to building up to where you are now. And just what part of your day-to-day now brings that same rush that you used to get dropping into 60-foot faces, however big they are. Maybe not 60 foot. I don't know how big they were. I wasn't alive. But what in your day-to-day still gives you the same rush?
Wow. Yeah. So foiling showed up about 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, but through all of this, I've had a couple surgeries. 2 years ago, I had a left knee partial. In 2000, I had my back fused.
Oh, wow.
And that was 7 months before I surfed in the World Cup at Jaws in 50-foot surf. Yeah, that was 2099. Yeah, it was 99 and July 10th. And then in January, late January, surfed in the 2000 World Cup at Jaws.
Wow.
But so there was that. And then I had a right hip done.
That was recently, right?
No,
or is that
the left hip was it'll be 6 weeks ago on Sunday.
Wow.
Friday.
Yeah.
But so, between hernias and appendicitis, or almost appendicitis, I drove myself to the hospital. I'm like, wow, I've been fasting, it's something I like to do to clear your mind is fast. And, it's getting late in the day and I'm like, man, I'm really hungry, but I've never had my stomach hurt like this. Right. And it's like, I go into the store, Cynthia, do I have a fever? She goes, oh yeah, you're on fire. I go, I got to go. Cause I had looked it up online. It's like, okay, hernia.
Yeah.
So drove over to Mills and, first thing I did is look at what's the newest hospital in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And I went to the new one.
Yeah.
But, and then I just had my left hip done. Yeah, crazy stuff.
So do you get a pretty good rush over the shop having a good day? Like in your day to day, what's giving you that same adrenaline rush?
The same adrenaline rush, Yeah, it's been the biggest adrenaline rush is the recovery I've been going through right now is going to allow my left side, which has been completely crippled for about 8 years, to come back to full flexibility.
Wow.
And that is, man, I'm telling you, it's like, it's given me a spark of fire that I haven't had in a long time.
Yeah. That's awesome.
4 years ago, I destroyed my right arm from the spine all the way out. And we're going to start working on that over at Stanford again and see if we can get them to turn the rest of my fingers on. Because it's not that Northern European disease. It's something that I did in my neck and my spine.
Yep.
And so I think I was going so hard a year after that I damaged everything that I kind of really restricted the recovery.
Yeah.
And it's gotten strong all the way down to the elbow, and I've gotten my grip back. I can fly a kite or a wing and foil pretty well. And I guess the rush now is building boards for and designing boards that I know people can trust when they spin to go on really big wave, like Manny Rosano. You know, he's been pulling into the left barrels, like you know, there's a few. There's Luca, and then there's what's
Aloe.
no, the other goopy foot. Golly,
Jason Stark.
No, he's regular foot.
Oh, he's regular.
Yeah. No,
Local guy?
The two brothers. Yeah, the local guys.
Mersons? Hunter?
Yeah. Hunter Merson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, building boards that fit in that left barrel and building boards that I know. I mean, there's a couple shots of Manny Rosano. So I do this crazy little concave with chine rails in the nose that Manny has taken off and purled up to his feet and pulled the thing out because the board will it won't stay underwater. It'll come out.
Yeah.
And I said when I gave it to him, and I go to Ocean Beach and try and take off and stuff the nose. Get used to how this board will respond.
Wow.
And then there's some pictures of him taking off so late and behind the bowl and purling and then popping out. And the next thing you know, he's just standing there in the giant barrel. So building boards for like that for people that I know need to trust the board.
Yeah.
And then Justine DuPont, she'll come over and she'll, and I built a bunch of boards for her years ago, and she, I went to Portugal, and she pulls her favorite 9.0 out of the shed, and she goes, "Man, I need boards like this one,"
Yeah.
and it's funny, a lot of people build really nice boards, but there's you can do very subtle little things that just make them a little more comfortable.
Yeah,
definitely.
Big sense of
Great
pride.
answer.
Big sense of pride in being able to see someone else ride the boards you wish, or you the way you'd like to see it.
Yeah,
Right?
and see them be successful in pushing the limits.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sense of pride, you have a sense of pride in your shop. When did that open? And now that you're talking about it, it's over in Princeton Harbor.
Yeah, it's in Princeton Harbor. The first one was out in the warehouse. Actually, the first one was down on here on Main Street.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that was fun. We had the Merman play.
Yep.
The dust.
Yeah, the dust.
And
the dust. Scaring kids away. Yeah.
Like, you guys, come on. This is a family shop. and so then the Merman set up and they played and they had their concert stadium sound system. It was so epic, man. You could hear them all the way at the bridge. And I'd go in and check on all the neighbors, and Bev Cunha, I go, "How you guys doing, Bev? You guys doing all right?" And she goes, I go, "Pretty loud, Jeff." I go, "But it's busy, isn't it?" It's like, try to keep the store busy. Yeah, it's busy.
A lot of stoned kids eating sandwiches.
What's since we're talking about Cunha's, what's the story behind the mural?
The mural. Okay, so a guy from Italy came over here, and it was like almost a bait and switch. He was investing a lot of money in town, and then they started throwing permitting at him. And so basically, he got this guy Fabio, who painted murals in Italy, to come over and do that mural. He goes, "What's your favorite picture?" And so I had that picture in a book, and then the poster and the board, and so next thing I know, he goes, "All right, you got to come down and check it out." And I'm like, "Holy cow!" Life-size wave of Mavericks. And
it's almost a 1-to-1. You would think.
Yeah, it almost is.
It's a pretty tall building.
Yeah.
And it's way cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really cool.
But
and for those that don't know, it's the mural on Cunha's right at their parking lot on Main Street, right there.
Yep. And so you've been known to do quite a bit of community outreach and philanthropy. Any favorites that you've participated in recently?
Patrick Warburton has a St. Jude's fundraiser out in Palm Desert, and this was its 15th year.
Nice.
And over 15 years, they've raised $50 million.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. And then Sonoma Children's Charities, which is now the Schultz Foundation, the Peanuts. And Jeannie Schultz is a good friend of mine. Not last summer, but summer before, we had a surfing exhibition, Cowabunga Peanuts. And I hung a bunch of my boards.
Yeah.
I took them up there, and they hung them in the museum. And then I went up and did a public presentation and their donors dinner presentation, and really fun charity is the Schultz Foundation. And this was the 23rd year that I've played in the golf tournament up at Mayakama.
Yeah.
It was early on at Sonoma Children's Charities, and now it's the Schultz Foundation.
Wow.
And then Kevin Rahm has a St. Jude's fundraiser out in Jacksonville, Florida. And it's another 4-day event. It's an amazing experience out there, 4-day event. The Palm Desert, 4-day event.
Yeah.
Where Thursday night is Country Western Songwriters Night.
Wow.
And so they have all the platinum songwriters.
Yeah.
And then Friday night is pretty much a rock. They get a group of musicians, a package. So you have like Heart, REM, The Doors.
Nice.
Cool.
Just
a great lineup.
Yeah.
Steely Dan.
Nice. Some yacht rock going.
It's one of the most amazing, Rush. They get they have a pretty cool thing, and it's you're right there next to the next to the musicians.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Pretty good. And then there's you're playing at the Palm Desert Marriott, and then the Classic Club or Desert Willow
Love Desert Willow. That's a good spot.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Well, you kind of led me into my next question, but a lot of people don't know you're a local club champion in golf. What's the connection that you feel between surf and golf?
Well, I was doing NFL alumni fundraisers, and which led into some of the other charity golf events. I played in all the Ronnie Lott golf tournaments and Joe Montana golf tournaments up at Edgewood and Tahoe. And I was terrible. I was like, man, I'm a better athlete than this. And so, after one of the NFL alumni tournaments up at the Olympic Club, this guy Shenandoah, he goes, Georgie Hatzis goes, he's an actor, and he goes, come on in. One of the guys in the pro shop wants to meet you that surfs Ocean Beach. And so went in, met him, and he goes, I want to start surfing bigger waves. How good at golf do you want to get? I'm like, well, maybe we should, I'll surf with you. I'll come up and hit some balls with you. And he goes, okay, let's trade. And so over the next 3 years, we traded surf lessons for golf lessons. And he got me at a place where, I was fairly confident about scraping the ball around the track.
Yeah.
And I got invited to go to a trip to Ireland with Dave Glass and Vance Verderami, who owns Pelican, and Woody Shackleton. So we played for a week, come back, and Vance goes, club championship starts next weekend. And I'm like, how do I get into it? He goes, well, you're an 8 handicap. That's the highest handicap they'll let in the event. I'm like, perfect. So I treated that week like it was my job to learn how to chip and putt.
Yeah.
Right. And so after the first first 2 rounds, I was low medalist in the clubhouse, right? And it was raining. It was ugly golf, but I'm a duck. So let me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not afraid of water. So then it goes into match play the next weekend, and match plays. I can do well at match play. I can birdie a hole, and I can get a 10 on the next one.
Yep.
But, and I slid into the championship round, which was a 36-hole match.
Oh, jeez. All in one day?
All in one day.
Yeah, that's a long day.
And it's a long day, but I ended up sliding by with two and 1.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I golf ended up becoming a pretty big passion, and I have friends in the golf industry. I played a lot of golf, or not a lot of golf, but I played quite a few rounds with Kelly Slater, who was a phenomenal golfer. I mean, he got a golf coach, and now he's just straight up gnarly. He was gnarly back when, that competitive mind, but I found that I've been playing injured for a long time, and I'm really looking forward to changing that up, and my son's playing golf these days, and he's a perfectly healthy 6'3", 195-pound specimen that freaking crushes the ball. And so he still has a little bit of trouble getting past the old man.
Well, we're gonna have to all get a round in.
Absolutely.
Get a round in together. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I pretty much only run into you, Matt, right as you're finishing your round. Yeah, usually you're just saying, I just barely cleared the creek on 18.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I can't wait. And the Newton shafts are out.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Newton 4-dot.
Okay.
And Angel McGinnis won with it. And then the guy just won a month ago at Pebble Beach with a Newton.
Okay.
Shaft. So
there you go.
My friend Tim D's, as we call it, Tim D's tour band, and it's his garage, and he's right up 92 in Alameda.
Okay.
And builds clubs, and he's setting up a chipping and hitting zone in his backyard. And
that's awesome.
Good guy.
So we got club repair.
Yeah.
We got you covered. Hit me up.
Are you a big gear guy when it comes to the golf stuff?
Oh yeah, so I was playing in the tournament up in Santa Rosa, the Schultz Foundation tournament, and the practice round, I was playing with the president of Cobra Puma Golf.
Yep.
And I was playing TaylorMade at the time, and he goes, "Why aren't you playing our clubs?" I was playing pretty good at the time, and I go, "Well, what do I got to do?" And he goes, "Show up in Carlsbad. We'll get you complete fitting and set you up." So, once I came back from this injury, it's been like 3 years. I call him up and I go, "Yeah, I'm ready to get back on tour." The fun tour.
The fun tour. Yeah.
He goes, "We got you covered. Show up." And
that's awesome.
I'm on a Cobra Puma, and
I'm a Cobra guy.
Yeah.
That's good clubs.
Yeah. So the Max K.
Yep.
With a Newton shaft or not. See ya.
Long, straight, not that often. Sorry, go ahead.
With some full of long hitters.
So changing it up, but if I understand it correctly, from what I read, you have a patent on a certain surfboard design. Can you?
It's a design patent.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting in the old chart house in Montero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're building a lot of tow boards at that point, right? And they, like, I'm watching the guys at Jaws, and the bumpy days out here, boards are just flying out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting at the glass table, and there's water on it, and I set the tumbler down, and it just goes, it just like slides friction free across the table. And I'm like, I'm going to do that on a surfboard. what does that look like on a surfboard? So the tri-fin setup, I put 2 literally golf ball dimples in the board, and then so we went out in the harbor and we're doing whips, and there's points where I can't even look where I'm going. I'm just a pendulum on the rope, and probably be going 50 miles an hour. And the board with the dimples, it's pulling the tail below the surface of the water. There's so much vacuum in the dimples. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, too much for that speed. So the goal is to maximize traction, minimize drag.
Yeah.
And so we kind of made them like, a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
And now I can go 45, 50 miles an hour without drag.
Yeah.
And
The Venturi effect.
well, it's kind of like the Venturi effect, but if you put a dimple in the foam, fill it with sawdust, and just shoot air across it, it'll go right.
Yeah.
You'll see the vacuum live.
Yeah.
And so I just went ahead and built some boards like that, and then when I got invited to tow at the Jaws 2000 World Cup, I took a 7-foot board with dimples in it, and watching, and man, it's such a mogul field when the jet skis are running around, guys are ripping back out to the peak, and the bumps, and I would see guys going in and they're riding like 6.2s, and they're going in and the boards are down inside the chop bumps. And so they're getting so much pressure on the nose that the tails are lifting out and they're swapping ends and getting lit up. And more than once going back out, I would see guys start to drop in and just kick out. They didn't want no part of that mogul field. It's like going through a mogul field on a snowboard.
Yeah.
And you just end up scattering, yard sale.
Yeah.
And but my 7-foot board had it was longer, and then I had this magnetism of my fins and my tail. So I could just turn into it and look for the jumps, the launch ramp, and the landing zones. And I could literally just go it like releasing a magnet, and then as soon as my tail hit that traction that the dimples gave me was so much confidence. It was insane. And
and that's the carryover with golf. And the dimples.
That's the connection.
There you go. It's pretty fun. But so and golf is just a mental thing, It's like if you got stuff going on, golf is going to manifest exactly the chaos you got out here. Yep. You want to show up to golf. Nothing happens in golf fast. And it's just got to be a chill, The best rounds my friend has had, I've been with him when he shot 68.
Jesus, yeah. Oh.
Right? A couple times. Wow. And we didn't talk about golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was Gavin and I played in a golf tournament last week.
Yeah.
And,
last Monday.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, but I just had a great day for myself, and it was just one of those where you go in. I had no expectations for myself, and then next thing you know, I'm collecting $275 for closest to the pin.
There you go. Yeah, isn't it fun?
Yeah.
And it's like, when you're in a space like that, it's where, not how.
Exactly.
You're not worrying about how you're going to hit it. You're just, it needs to go over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Manifesting.
It's all about being present.
Yeah.
Don't think too hard.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, after a lifetime of hitting huge waves, what other big waves in life do you want to tackle as far as projects, passions, anything else that you have in the future that you want to take on?
I have, from the 60s all the way till present, memorabilia.
Okay.
And, one of the local guys here is going, you know what? You need to create a museum. You
It'd be
need to
awesome.
create a museum. I'm sure you could probably get it funded, and Mavericks deserves to have a museum.
Yeah.
And I have I've got boards from my first boards. 1991. I probably have like 6 boards from that year.
Wow.
And that was those boards, single fins, and then transitioning into tri fins, and then into quads. Before there weren't really no quads being ridden. There, let's see, is it Barnfield? He was building some quads in Hawaii, but as far as Waimea style big wave guns, everything was single fins.
Okay.
And then tri fins, and the FCS plugs came out, and I was so frustrated with the fins that they made for FCS plugs that I put 2 in the back. So a driver fin for each rail fin. And here we go. And then I started building a lot of them, glass-ons. And Tajnik paddles up one day, he goes, "Jeff, I just broke my only board, tri-fin." And I go, "Yeah, here, ride this. You'll have a blast." And he flips it over and he goes, "4-fin?" I go, "You'll be fine. You'll have fun on it." And he paddles out to Grant. He goes, "Grant, you ever ridden a 4-fin?" Grant flips his board over. 4-fin. They work great. Just go.
Yeah.
And Tazzy ended up winning the session that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to see the Alex Matienzo's painting even.
yeah, I've got that in the warehouse out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I've got everything from VHS tapes of Mavericks to the mini DVs, and then CDs. That's why I kind of put that room together, because I wanted to do this with a giant screen so that we could talk about what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be really killer. Well, I mean, if you could pass on one lesson from your life in the water to your kids, to a local kid, or any kid really listening that's looking to take on, that's just drawn like you were at a young age to water, what's something that you would want to pass on to them?
Slow and sure, and just I don't know. You can do something that you can pass on. That's just whether it's the the belief in yourself, to trust your instincts. How many of those older surfers told me that you can't surf out there? All of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just going to keep going. It's in the back. I got my eye on that thing out there, and I'm just going to just listen to my instinct. And when it tells me to jump, I'm going to jump, but I'm going to jump trusting I know where I'm jumping to.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. Just keep an open mind and trust your instinct. And, you know what you know, and don't let anybody tell you you don't know what you know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, everybody, the legend, Jeff
Thank
Clark.
you.
Can you tell the people where to find you?
You can find me at 25 Johnson Pier. And, we do have a lot of memorabilia in there. This year is my 50th anniversary of Surfing Mavericks. And coming up in the next month or so, we're going to have some pretty cool designs to celebrate that. And if you've got any questions of Mavericks, and some of those guys that want to come up and surf it, I'm actually doing a little intro to how to approach Mavericks. So hit me up at the surf shop, and thanks for being here tonight. Thank you guys for getting me on your show.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
And I believe the Instagram is Mavericks Surf Company. Go check them out.
Yeah. We look forward to coming on your podcast someday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Jeff Clark Mavericks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Awesome.
You got it.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thanks,
Jeff.
guys. All right, what's up, friends? Welcome back to the recap of Jeff Clark's episode. And boys, it is good to be back.
Ian's back. He made it up the stairs for the second time.
Walking up the stairs, dude, like 3 times today. That's huge.
Yeah, huge. I honestly can't believe I conquered that huge wave.
Yeah, PT.
PT's taking
PT's doing its job.
doing it for me. And by the way, dude, Jerry Lopez, still alive, still serves.
Oh my God. Well, when he
77 years old by the time this episode comes out.
He said George.
Yeah,
and I was like, I knew Lopez in my head, and I'm like, what's the guy?
George Lopez.
I know. I was like, George Lopez. And then when it left my mouth, I was like, it's a sick show, but
It was
not
a
a
great
surfer.
He could have been, dude.
Honestly, hated George Lopez's show.
Oh,
Yeah.
I loved him.
I just have PTSD of waking up at 2 a.m. and it's them jumping on a fucking trampoline.
But the intro, come on, the intro song. Yeah.
It was unreal.
The song's good.
Yeah. But yeah, Jeff Clark, what a guy.
Okay.
We're trying to stop saying what a guy or what a lady.
He is a great guy, but you say what a guy too much.
Yeah.
So
Trying to find new ways to get into this recap here.
Yeah.
But no, it was really fun hearing all the stories that, you hear about growing up on the coast. Obviously, Mavericks plays a huge role in your upbringing and just where you come from because it's so world renowned for the wave that it is. But it's also just cool to hear Jeff talk about breaks up and down the coast. And obviously, we're not naming them, but it was just cool to hear stories from him experimenting with the water and how he reads the water and how he has studied water. And he's, he said it in the episode. He can watch a wave for however long he needs, and then he can draw what the bottom of the ocean looks like just based off of how the wave breaks and how it forms, where the bowl is, like just everything about it. He can sit there and process everything to a high level. And honestly, to be the kind of trailblazer that he was with Mavericks, or is with Mavericks, I should say, that's what it took. Because, I always had the question I always wanted to ask, you're paddling out for the first time. Obviously, he hadn't been out there in a boat. He hadn't been out there in anything other than a surfboard. So when you're watching this wave break, how do you not know that there's rocks underwater? And it's because he took the time to prepare and to study water and understand what it looks like when there are rocks underwater, what it looks like when there isn't rocks underwater, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can take the I don't know, like scientific study approach with what he did at Mavericks, and you can also just point to the fact that he has huge balls.
There's also that aspect, Dave. I mean,
how does he sit down with balls that?
He barely did it in here.
I wouldn't even want to go skateboard where you can't drown alone, let alone going out in the water where there's no safety net.
Yeah, no. And I'm starting to see like people that perform at the highest level in these action sports, whether that be surfing, skateboarding, dirt bikes. You look at guys like Travis Pastrana, Brian Deegan, like, yes, they put out, there's this persona, and obviously these guys are all badasses. But at the end of the day, they're also just dorks about the sport. And I think that adds so much more value to what they're trying to progress the sport and the speed that they're trying to progress the sport at.
Well, and it was kind of crazy just how much of the conversation today when we're asking a question and Jeff starts talking about like the board that he was riding at the time, and it's just this immense knowledge and memory of him where he's connecting like these moments to like what board he was riding. It was just really cool.
Yeah, and the whole dimples under the surfboard thing, I never even knew that. When I read your question that you had written, I was like, what's he talking about? What patent is that? That was a great question, Dave.
I had no clue what the patent was either. But
It's like a scientist, a sculptor, blue-collar worker.
Yeah.
Historian.
Yeah, being in the Carpenters Union for
a long time.
Like 25
years.
Almost 20 years or something.
Probably gets his pension from it. Probably gets his retirement.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Just a generation of carpenters too. Yeah. Multiple 3 generations. It's cool.
Oh, no, it's cool to hear also about Mavs when, he's surfing out there alone. And it was an honest question, does he think that anybody had paddled out before him? I don't know. But obviously he doesn't think that happened. And it was just really cool to hear the stories coming from Jeff himself and, talk to Jeff the guy that surfed Mavericks for the first time. Yeah, no, that was super cool.
I love Super Peak.
Super Peak, yeah.
Super Peak.
Good band name.
Yeah.
Good name.
But like, imagine if it was just like known as Super Peak. That would be like so.
Yeah, and I feel like Maverick. I feel like the name Mavericks kind of encompasses the old name too.
Yeah,
because it's a cooler way of just saying it's a Super Peak.
Well, it's so funny to tell people that you're from Half Moon Bay, and they're like, "Oh, you're like,
Mavericks.
oh, it's where Mavericks is."
Yeah,
That's named after a German Shepherd.
yeah. No, dude, hearing about the naming of the wave was super cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea about the whole dog story.
I knew it had something to do with a dog, but yeah.
No, super cool. Yeah, we had a lot of fun sitting down. We forgot to ask him about prohibition. Dang it. Probably had some good stories.
Yeah.
Prohibition in the 20s.
You haven't even seen it yet?
Kick. Huh? Come on.
Okay.
You haven't seen it's like episodes that have just been uploaded. I don't think Cole's even been editing them, but we are just on a prohibition kick, dude. It's all time.
All right, the people have had it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening. Go for it.
No, it's okay.
I'm happy to be back. Thanks for having me, guys.
Everybody, welcome back, Ian.
Producer Ian's back. Let's go. He's got his laptop. He's Googling shit.
Yeah.
I'll be back for at least this week.
Okay.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Tune into Between Shifts podcast. See you next time.
Cheers.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, we're brought to you by BikeWorks HMB, your one-stop shop for bike service, sales, and rentals in Half Moon Bay, California. Whether you're on the mountain, road, or low on battery, BikeWorks HMB has your back. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support this podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at betweenshiftspod@gmail.com. The link will be in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. GT, signing off.